welcome to Basketball Talk Pro. I'm Ron Ekker. The title of this segment is What Others Think, Say, and Do. And I wanted to talk to you about that. Because those four words, others think, say, or do, probably incites more fear than anything else that you may do. It's a silent fear. It isn't like a fear of being burglarized or animals attacking you. Those are very visible and real fears. But what people say, think, and do, others, has a tremendous debilitating effect on you and all people, and more so than people realize. And in our field, where we're so openly criticized, so openly praised, it is a personal development thing that I think it needs to be spoken to. What are we afraid of in that area? It's kind of hard to say, but the main thing is that people don't even know or think about it, but they react to it. Fear is not being liked. People don't like what you're doing, don't like what you say, not being respected, maybe even being ridiculed. And that may be the worst of all of them. But it's quiet, but it's a debilitating fear. It affects you. You make decisions that maybe you would not make if it wasn't for that fear. I'd like to take a look at this a little bit. What do those four words mean? Others, say, think, or do. Who are others? There's where we start. We make up others. We imagine others. We don't know what they're going to say, think, or do. That's something that we don't have any control over. We may think they're saying negative things about us, and they may be thinking nice things about us. But we don't even know who those people are. So the first thing we have to realize is that these others are really a part of your imagination. And then the word think, what they think of us. Do they think of us in negative tones or negative feelings? We don't know. We have no way of knowing what people think yet. What we imagine people think has a disastrous effect on us because we fail to do things that should be done, what is right to do, and what we want to do because of that fear. And what they say, does it make any difference, really? We're experts at what we do. What somebody on the street says about what we should do or shouldn't do doesn't mean a thing, really. This is our profession. We know what's best, and we try to do what's best for the players, for the team, in everything that we do. So who are they to say? You know, I'd never tell a doctor how to perform an operation. I wouldn't even begin to tell anybody, a waitress, a plumber. They know more about their profession than I do. But I know more about basketball than they do. And I do not have to be concerned about what those others may say. And what they may do, yes, they can do some harmful things. They can try to get you fired. They can talk behind your back. They can even physically attack you. But how bad is anything that they can do? You know, the samurai swordsmen historically were the greatest fighters of all time. They were like possessed people. But they had a strange training. In order for them to fight and protect their country and do the things that they did, they had to overcome one thing. And what their training was is, what's the worst thing that can happen to you when you go into war and you have to fight one-on-one with a talented other swordsman, because they all were. The worst thing that they could do, that could happen to them, was death. They learned how to accept death. Once they could accept that, they rose to a higher level than those that couldn't. And there were many samurai swordsmen that couldn't. But the outstanding ones accepted death. That was the worst that could happen to them, and they said, if that's going to happen, it's okay. Once you accept the worst that can happen to you, then you're free. And to be very honest with you, you're free from a slavery, in my opinion, because you can become a slave to what what you think other people's can say about you, can do to you, what they can think about you. And that keeps you from doing the things that you want to do. And to me, that's accepting slavery. So you can do the same thing that a samurai swordsman. What's the worst thing that can happen to you? Learn to live with that and accept it. And then you take away all of your concerns. The area that we're talking about, where people can control you without even doing anything, has a psychological effect that hampers your ability to do your job right. First of all, if you are going to do what everybody else is doing because you know that's accepted, then what happens is you accept it because you think it'll work, and it'll work automatically. So all you have to do is say, we're going to do this because everybody else is doing it. Then you expect it to be automatic, and you don't coach it, and you don't live with it. You don't learn it. It's supposed to just do what you expect it to do. And it's safe. And that safety brings about a kind of a attitude of that you don't really have to do anything, that you're not going to be criticized because it's safe. It's safe to do what everybody else is doing, in a way. But I'll tell you a little story. I was an assistant to a coach, and I had showed him how much better we scored when we didn't run plays. And it was quite dramatic, and he agreed with me. And I said, well, let's not run plays. And he was aghast. He said, run. Well, we'd get fired. What would people think of us if we didn't run any plays? Everybody runs plays. I said, but we'll win. We don't have to worry about those things because we're going to win by doing that. But his fear of what other people would think of him was greater than his love for winning. And so we ran plays. And you would too, if you're not aware of what I'm talking about. I want to make you aware. The saddest thing is you begin to do things that's not yours. You may not even care for them, but you do them because of what I've said. It's safe. It'll work because other people are using it, not doing it, but it's not yours. It's not what you really are attracted to. Now, if you can break away from this fear and just stop and think what your life would be like if you had no concern at all what anybody else thought of you. It's liberating. It's a feeling that you get that keeps you from being put into a slavery situation where you're doing things automatically because that's what everybody else is doing. And the worst thing, as I said, it's not yours, but it keeps you from the joy of doing the things you want to do. There's a statement in the Bible. It goes something like this: where your heart is, your treasure is. You ought to put that on your mirror and every morning take a look at it. Where your heart is, that's where your treasure is. But you have to listen to your heart. You have to be aware of what you really feel. You have to train yourself to realize that what do I want to do? What is good for me? What can I do that's good for my players? Regardless of what anybody else says or thinks. That's where your treasure is, and that's where you're probably going to have the most success if you can come to that decision in your life and live by it. There's something special about working hard on something you love, and you put in extra time. You put in the time that you need to, and then in the end you become an expert. You become a master at what you do. But it has to come from inside. Because you see, there's another part to this. Yes, you can avoid everything that people say and do, think about you. But when you do it, you also have to give up the one thing that maybe you really want most of all, and that is praise. Because if you're working for praise, for stature, for status, you're a slave to that. And the fear of losing that is greater than anything else that I've said to you. But the optimal is when you do what you love to do. You do it without fear, and you do it without credit, and you do it without being noticed. It's inside of you. It's a secret. All of this. Once you keep things secret and to yourself, then you avoid the fears and you avoid your desire for status, praise, being a hero, and you work on what really is the joy in anybody's life and in your life. And if you can do that, I believe you'll have a lot of success in anything you do. You see, it isn't only coaches that go through this. Every walk of life, everybody in your family is is in some way or another, watch your teenage children go off to school, how they dress, how they talk. Do you think that's because that's what they want to do? You think it's because that's what they love to do? What other people will think of them. And they want to have the praise that comes with wearing just the right thing and doing just the right thing by other people's standards. But it's got to be from your standards, from within. That'll make you succeed and give you a lot of joy in this profession. Well, enjoy the bet games that are coming up. There's going to be some great ones. And we'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.